Hi guys. Okay, so here is 1.5. So talking about angle pair relationships. So first thing, excuse me, complementary angles. Two or more angles who angles measure sums to 90 degrees. If A and B, angle A and angle B are complementary, that means an angle A plus angle B equal 90 degrees. So if I put these back to back and I added them, they would equal a right angle. Okay. Supplementary angles is two or more angles whose measure sum to 180 degrees. So they make they make a straight line. They make a straight angle. So if angle C and angle D are supplementary, then angle C plus angle D equal 180 degrees. Number one, angle A and angle B are supplementary. The measure of angle A is 2x plus 5, and the measure of angle B is 3 times larger than A. What is the value of x? So, we know that 2x plus 5 angle A, and we know angle plus angle B equals supplementary. Supplementary is 180 degrees. Hey guys, how I remember how much they add to? So, complementary starts with C. Supplementary starts with S. C comes before S alphabetically, just like 90 degrees comes before 180 degrees. Okay. We know that angle B is 3 times larger than that guy. So mathematically, to show that is taking whatever angle A is, which is 2x plus 5, and multiply it by 3 times that. We know if we add those two angles together, we get 180 degrees because they are supplementary. So if I start doing the math, 2x plus 5, distribute. I get 2x, or 6x's plus 15 equals 180 degrees. 2x's and 6x's make 8x's. 5 and 15 make 20. And I set that equal to 180. Start solving it. Subtract 20. I get 8x equals 160. Divide by 8. X equals 20. Next time I'm not going to put a Jolly Rancher in my mouth before I start doing my lesson. Sorry, guys. Okay, what's the value of x? So I just wanted to reread my question to make sure that I'm answering the question, because they could have also asked what's the value of A and what's the value of B. You can also plug these in to check yourself. So 2 times 20 is 40. 40 plus 5 is 45. So we know 45 times 3, that's 90, that's 135. So 135 and 45 add to 180, so that works. Next page. Adjacent angles. Two angles that share a common endpoint and side. So adjacent means right next to. So when we talk about adjacent angles, they're right next to one another. They share a side. So people in a room are adjacent if they're sitting right next to one another. So if I have this angle and this angle and this angle, I could say angle 1 is adjacent to angle 2 because they share an endpoint and side. A linear pair, two blank angles whose measure sums to 180 degrees. Two adjacent angles whose sum is 180. Okay, so what's the difference between linear pair and supplementary angles? Because supplementary angles also equals 180 degrees. The difference is the linear pair are adjacent also, so they share a side. Whereas supplementary angles, I could have an angle here and an angle here and say these two angles are supplementary, but they're not sharing a side. Okay? If angle A to B to D, so that would be this angle, and D to B to C, that would be this angle, are linear pair, then angle A to B to D plus angle C to B to D equal 180 degrees. Vertical angle. Two pairs of blank angles formed around the intersection of two lines. Two pairs of opposite. So for instance, this guy and this guy are vertical. They're across from one another. This guy and this guy are vertical because they are across from one another. If you notice, I put specific arcs in here. This has one arc and this has one arc because vertical angles are congruent. So this angle BEA is congruent to DEC. And this angle BEC is congruent to DEA. And those have two arcs in them. If angle BEA and CED are vertical angles, then angle BEA is congruent to angle CED. All right, use that information, and I want you to pause me and do number 2 and number 3 on your own. Unpause me when you're done so we can see if you did it correctly. On number 2, we're going to solve for x and y. We know this guy equals this guy because those are vertical, and this guy equals this guy. Those are vertical. So one way I could solve this is say this equals this, or 2y equals x plus 5. However, I can't actually do that on this problem because I can't put x's equal to y's. You can't have two different variables. Other than that, don't you see that this is a line? So these two things are a linear pair. Same thing here. These two things are a linear pair. So if I know that 4x minus 100 plus x plus 5 equals a linear pair, that means that they equal 180 degrees. So that's how I'm going to solve for x. Combine like terms, so 5x is negative 100 plus 5 is negative 95 equals 180. I'm going to add 95 to both sides. So 180 plus 95 is 275. Divide by 5, divide by 5, I get x equals 55. I want to do one problem both ways. So I want to use linear pair, but I also want to do vertical angles. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to plug this in. I'm going to put 55 in for this x, and so this angle is 60 degrees. Since this angle is 60 degrees, I also know that this angle is 60 degrees. So now I can solve y by using vertical angles. 60 degrees equals 2y. Divide by 2, divide by 2. Y equals 30. I can also name all the angles now. This one's 60, this one's 60. If these two add to 180, because it's a linear pair, and this one's 60, I do 180 minus 60, that would give me 120. Same thing down here, this is 120. Number 3. What values of x satisfy the image below? So we know that this guy plus this guy equal 180. So 4x squared plus 10 plus 26 equals 180. Combine like terms, 4x squared plus 36 equals 180. Now, if I'm looking at this, I have an x squared, which means that this is a quadratic. So then I'm going to decide what's my easiest way to solve this. Is it square root method? Is it factoring? Or is it quadratic formula? I notice on this guy there's an x squared. There's no regular x. So I should be able to use the square root method. So in the square root method, I have to get everything to the one side except for my x squareds. So first step is I'm going to subtract 36 from both sides. When I do that, I get 4x squared equals 180 minus 36, so I don't make a mistake, 144. I'm going to divide by 4, divide by 4. I get x squared equals 36. That's not my solution. My solution is the square root of that. So x equals a positive and negative 6. And both answers actually make sense in this guy because I could put in a positive 6 and do positive 6 squared, which is 36 times 4, or negative 6 squared, which is a positive 36 also. All right, so those were pretty short notes, thankfully, right? So that is 1.5. You will have a 1.5 homework assignment. You're also going to have a worksheet to do on 1.4, the previous lesson from last week. All right, guys, thanks.